Mr. Chairman, what we have seen in the past few weeks is not picketing at all. It is an attempt by force to prevent others from doing what they have a right to do. It is intimidation. It is unlawful assembly. Our duty demands and the national interest requires that we see that violence does not pay and is seen not to pay. Yeah. Let violence cease. Let the law be kept. That is the spoken and unspoken hope and wish of millions of our fellow citizens.
In 1984, due to the excess of coal, Margaret Thatcher took the unpopular decision to close most of the coal mines in Britain. This meant over 100,000 people would lose their main source of income. Many people could not afford their houses anymore and were instead put into social housing until Thatcher later privatised this in the late 80s. People were still going hungry, with many people skipping meals so instead their child could eat. Even now, this still happens. The north of England still remains in poverty. People call this the North-South divide. For example, government spending per head in Norfolk is 2 times more than that of in Sheffield or South Yorkshire. This means people will have worse GP care as well as other commodities. Opened in 1830, Barnsley Mills was the epicentre of the northern powerhouse that once was. It was home to tens of thousands of workers who relied on the mines to feed and house their wives and children. It's the last of its kind in the UK, and it's a heritage site despite the graffiti adorning the exterior. Unfortunately, the colliery is infamous for another reason: the strikes. In 1866, the mine had an explosion, collapsing the mine, trapping 360 people underground. After many days of rescue attempts, the firefighters only managed to save 5 people, leaving 355 dead. Barnsley is now the 8th most deprived city in the UK. The other top 10 are all located in the north, showcasing the previously mentioned North-South divide. There have been many attempts to rectify poverty in the north. None have really worked. You may remember David Cameron's slogans plastered on trains, the Northern Powerhouse, he called it, or the recent Boris Johnson slogan, Levelling Up. But with the development of a High-Speed 2, or its shorter name, HS2, there is hope that the North might be brought to the forefront of British industry once more. I planned to interview a local miner from Promotica who was around during the strikes. I wanted to know what effect the closures had on him.
Well, I used, when this shut down, I went to Silverwood, which is at the library, which is not far off Wickersley.
Aye.
Lots of friends in Rotherham. Yeah, how did it affect me? Well, like 2 kids. No wages.
No.
Wife were working. But all my savings and everything I'd got, ended strike, everything I'd got.
Yeah, ouch. You know, it's...
there's no else to say.
No, yeah, I understand.
That was it. And at the end of the day, no matter what arrangements were made, they still shut up. They've all gone now.
Yeah, they are. They've even been demolished, you know.
Excuse me. And now we're wide open now to ransom from likes of Russia.
Yeah, no.
Gas, you know,
yeah.
Because at the time it was dash for gas.
Yeah.
They're using gas turbines to generate electricity.
Yeah.
Instead of coal.
Yeah.
Oh.
This afternoon, traffic in central London came to a halt as a big march in support of the miners made its way from Tower Hill to the Jubilee Gardens on the South Bank and a mass rally. Their route took them down Fleet Street for a protest at alleged biased reporting of the miners' dispute. Police estimated the numbers of marchers at 11,000. The organisers said there were nearer 20,000. At their head, the miners' president, Arthur Scargill.
Join us in the fight, and victory will be ours!
Some London schools closed as teachers left to join the demonstration. Many council services were disrupted and firemen answered only emergency calls. At the end of the day, for Arthur Scargill, a rousing reception.
While the miners' strike didn't achieve much, the mines never reopened and people had to move on. I believe it will go down in history as a time when Northen Britain was united as one. Everyone united for one cause. Strikes in England still happen to this day, and they are all for the same reason. Poverty is still a huge issue in the north. Towns and even counties have been left behind, leaving empty homes and empty stores. People call the north grim for many reasons, from the weather to the employment prospects. I think it's all down to perspective. There are good aspects to Northern Britain. Maybe a city in Manchester is a good example. There's the rolling hills in Derbyshire, and how cheap it is. But it could be so much better if politicians stopped funding London and instead tried to help out Newcastle, Sheffield, Liverpool, or even Derby.